Hello everyone, the December review here, back again with AJLT Season 3, Episode 5 Recap. As always, spoilers are ahead. Let's make sure to check out the show streaming exclusively on HBO Max. Well, there's certainly a lot to unpack from this week's episode. We got more texting with Samantha. Really bad news for Charlotte and Harry. Seema took a step back, and Miranda moved in with Carrie for a very, very short time. Oh, and Carrie's new neighbor is around and they are already getting together for dinner. Episode 5 is quite the whirlwind. It's almost the most action-packed one yet in terms of storyline for this season so far. Let's of course pick things back up with Carrie. The episode starts off in a rather excellent shoe montage marathon, which was used to set the stage for our new neighbor. After clanging and banging around on the floor, we meet Duncan Reeves, a famous writer who spends 6 months in Carrie's downstairs apartment every year writing his next book, and he's having a hard time trying to get some sleep with all that noise. He's under some internal pressure as he's decided to branch out and try a new perspective on his next book. And there's been one big change since his arrival back in New York, and that of course is Carrie. The pair exchange a few sarcastic conversations. Duncan even tries to intimidate the gardening crew while he attempts to quiet down the noise, and even buys Carrie a pair of slippers in hopes to stop his perceived nuisance. Duncan is a so far welcomed addition here, providing some much needed vitriol to the series. He is snarky and angry when we first meet him, and he eventually opens up a bit by the end. Carrie herself ends up doing a 180 as the episode goes along. She is at first reluctant to even think of the idea of not wearing heels, especially for someone she doesn't know, but she buys a few runners and learns how to walk quietly before eventually taking the shoes off to keep the peace. Carrie is quite charming during her conversations with Duncan. Witty, sarcastic, confident, and slightly flirty. Her eye rolls and bravado are on full display. Matching her up with another writer is a great idea. This way, there's a common theme regardless of how different or demanding either one will be. It also led to the season's first Samantha mention as Carrie texted her to see what she knew about Mr. Reeves. I think it's cool that they have continued to ever so slightly now remind us of her. However, it really does remind me a bit more of just how missed that the character is. That sense of humor would be a very welcomed addition back onto the show. I know AJLT is its own thing from SATC in many ways, but it's still the same journey, and Samantha Jones was a big part of it. I still hold out hope that one day it'll happen, and not just a quick cameo. I'm ever the optimist, always setting myself up to get let down, but it'll happen one day.
God, I miss New York.
In most cases, this neighbor thing would be enough to fill an episode or two, but not here, oh no. Carrie has to deal with a few other things as well, most notably asking Miranda to move in with her due to the Airbnb that she's staying at not being a great place to stay. Miranda is at first reluctant, but after a rather odd situation with her own noisy neighbor, she heads to Gramercy, and it's clear from the start that for the sake of all things holy in this world, the two lifelong friends should never, ever live together. There is a bit of symmetry with these two storylines happening so quickly. We have two neighbor scenarios colliding together as Miranda retreats from hers and moves into a house where now noise is trying to be kept at a minimum. It's an interesting comparison. Early on, Miranda asks Carrie if she can speak to Seema about helping to find her own new place to stay, which Carrie feels could be a problem mixing friends and favors. This felt a bit strange that Miranda didn't just feel like she could ask Seema herself, but it didn't take long for Seema to get involved once the friends battled over breakfast yogurt and Coca-Colas. And if all this wasn't enough for Carrie, we quickly get our answer to the dinner table being sold. Yes, it is a table and not a desk, as I mistakenly mentioned in last week's episode. I also messed up in episode 1 where I kept saying Hamilton instead of Wicked. It's always great to miss a mistake after writing, filming, and editing something for a few hours, but you can count on me to mess something up inadvertently. So that table, which Carrie thought was gone, was in fact purchased by Aiden and is now residing nicely in the new home. That is, if Miranda doesn't destroy it first. Switching gears over to Charlotte, and things are a bit more somber. With some of this season's, we'll call them glitches, that Harry has gone through, Turns out that he went and got checked out, and he does in fact have cancer. He implores Charlotte that there is a very high success rate, everything will be fine, and that no one can know. He just wants life to carry on without a distraction. This, of course, throws Charlotte for a major loop, as her family and the Wexleys are set to go off for a weekend glamping together. A weekend not many people really seem to want to be there for. Charlotte lashes out multiple times as the trip isn't exactly going great. She eventually gets some chill time with Lisa, who notices something isn't right. Charlotte doesn't say what is wrong, in a rather poignant moment for the character. It's hard to know what the situation will bring for the Goldenblatts, and just like that, the couple have settled down into family life, long removed from the trade divorce which brought them together. Harry was the everyday man and underdog who eventually won the heart of Charlotte and the audience. Their journey during SATC was a highlight for me, as Harry was a welcomed reprieve from the cold and distant Trey and Bunny world. On face value, Harry will be okay, and this will showcase another side of life for our crew as the years continue to add up. Their support system will be as important as ever as this plays out. I'm sure once the shock is over with, Charlotte will be as strong as we know that she can be, and hopefully we have Harry continuing to make us laugh for many more episodes. Miranda didn't exactly have a great week either. Her move-in with Carrie was a disaster, though we did find out that they did live together before back in the 90s, if I remember that correctly. That was interesting news. Personal space doesn't seem to be a thing for her, as the much more guarded Carrie wasn't enjoying a shared environment. Shades of things to come perhaps with a guy out in Virginia. And she didn't have much luck with space over at Joy's place either, as her stay over there was interrupted by Joy's 2 dogs. Again, this was symmetrical storytelling, taking one scenario and compounding the idea in different plot lines. For Seema, she gets some bad news as she's turned down for a loan she was looking to use to start her own firm with. In fact, the bank assistant she dealt with was the same one that Carrie was denied by way back when in, I believe, season 4, when she was trying to buy her Manhattan apartment. It's interesting to note how successful Seema is, and after being bought out, she needs a loan, let alone doesn't get one. I wonder if Carrie ends up helping her out soon enough, though if she was worried about friends and house hunting, loaning money is next level problematic. And for Lisa Todd, apart from trying to hold it together for the glamping getaway, she has admittedly fallen a bit for her new editor. This gets further complicated once Herbert sees a picture of them together, and all of a sudden their time together seems like it could also be next level problematic. The episode marks the first one this season not directed by Michael Patrick King, and instead it was Julie Rottenberg who steps in. I thought the pacing continued quite well from last week's Virginia road trip. There was a lot going on here and it all looked great. That opening shoe montage had some nice bite to it, so I would like to give a shout out to this episode's own editor, who no doubt I'm sure has enjoyed some of the wink and nod editor drama that's happened this season. Looking ahead to next week, and it seems like Aiden will be back in New York, with Duncan now part of the proceedings, I'm betting things are about to get a bit more interesting for the city that never sleeps. Been a crazy 2 weeks after a quieter pace to start the season. Everyone has officially landed in full storyline drama, and I don't think it's going to change its pace anytime soon. Will Miranda finally find her own place? Will Harry be okay? Will Charlotte not fully snap? And will Carrie navigate through a new Duncan world? I couldn't help but wonder. I thought we were actually going to get a week where we didn't get any breaking news. Okay, so let's throw it out to our December review man on the street, Evan Evansley. Evan, what can you tell us about today's breaking news? Are we on? Evan, can you hear me? Evan, is this thing over yet? I'm going to get so wasted after this. Yeah, that's about all I got for this week. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.